What's going on, guys? Avatarmanz here, and today I'm going to do a replay analysis for my friend Lyrical. So this is a competitive threes match around the platinum rank. In my opinion, Lyrical is a diamond player, not a plat player. So I'm going to be going over this replay and talk about like the little things that, in his rotation, in his committing, everything about his playstyle that is kind of holding him back from playing a lot better at this rank and trying to get him out of this rut. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So there was actually a boost there, so it's really good that he missed that. It's just a glitch with the replay. But first here, obviously, when you can see that he was rotating back, it was really good that he dropped back this far. But in my opinion, he should have rotated or should have turned off ball cam to see that Han was to the left, because at this point you don't know where Han is at, and that's why Lyrical kind of came out, because he thought that Han was back in the net. So if you had turned off ball cam here, you would have been able to see, or at least use your left stick, or sorry, you're on keyboard. Use a keybind to look to the left, so that you'd be able to see. So technically speaking, you should be still on that wall, but like on the corner of the goal, just in case this ball gets past both of your teammates. So because of that, you're pushed up way too far. Now you have to block this incoming shot, and you're like way, in the center of it. So when you turn to hit this, you hit it back to them. So now if you stayed on the corner to your right, where you can see at the very right of the screen, if you stayed there, you could have hit that shot over to the other corner, to your left corner, back corner boost, and followed up with it. But instead you have to hit it to the other corner. Now again, this is a replay glitch because I went back, but there is a boost there and you missed it. So now you're rotating back, and again you rotated on the same line as the ball, and now Han should have really had a challenge here, or at least waited for the challenge, and you should have been dropping back to net. So that, as much as it sucks, Han really should have taken that boost. Or you should have taken that boost earlier. So now the rotation is screwed up, and now that you're expecting the shot to go in, you double commit with baked. So it's just really like one thing after the other, and fortunately those guys got a pinch. So it really lucked out, but the rotation from the beginning was not that great. Now on kickoff, I generally like to look with my right stick to see where my teammates are going on the kickoff, because you haven't played with these guys before. So you really should have used, at least do a reverse cam to see if anybody's behind you or something, because you have no idea how you're supposed to hit this ball, but you just go for like a win, and it doesn't really work out, and you still have no idea where your teammates are at. So that's just another thing that could help you out. Something else to note is that I'm not a huge fan. This is what I call a bot kickoff, when you just boost on the ground and then jump into the ball at the last second. That's really just a bot kickoff. A much more favorable kickoff, and something that the pros use and that I use all the time, is a double flip kickoff. So that would be where, instead of going, I guess I'll back up a little bit more. So here you should have grabbed the boost, and then the second you pick up the boost pad and drive past it, right here you should have flipped, such that you land right here, somewhere in this circle. That way you use less boost, and you're still able to meet your opponent at the ball, and you can flip into it still. So it really offers you a lot of flexibility, because if you flip with a little bit of space in between you and the ball, then you can adjust your timing if you need to boost into it more, if you need to do a slow kickoff and break, that sort of thing. It's really useful that way, so it's a little bit more versatile of a kickoff. So I would definitely recommend doing a double flip kickoff. So here, your rotation back into net is just really, really slow. I would have definitely just boosted all the way, grabbed that boost. So technically you should be right where baked is, or you should be in the net already. Because at the champ level, there's going to be somebody committing to this ball already and taking a shot on net, on the wall. So if this was a really highly skilled game, there would already be basically a shot on net. But the skill difference is a little bit gap. There's a bit of a gap here. So again, even the smallest things, when the second you hit this ball without jumping, which is really good, by the way, that you did not jump for this, because if you jumped or flipped into this ball, you would have committed right into the corner, into your corner, and done nothing at all. So it's really good that you hit this ball without jumping. But because you kind of were angled this way, you still kept going on the corner. You should have definitely just immediately turned downwards to be on the ground so you could follow up with your own hit. But instead, you kept following along with it in the air, and now you're out of position. And by the time you get on the ground, Otto over there, I assume that's how you pronounce it, is already flipping, and you kind of bump into him. So you should have definitely been able to follow your own shot. Getting bumped there was really good, but I think a half flip would have been better. Your positioning here is really good, but you should be turned towards that mid boost. Your position in net is fine, but you should be turned to the left more, like out facing towards the net. You're still facing, you know, laterally in the same position of the goal line. Notice how when you committed for this save, you really didn't even need to jump or fly out any farther than where you're at right now. You should have definitely been able to just jump upwards and stop boosting forwards, just boost upwards to let the ball come to you and just hit the ball to the left corner. So you did that, but you came out of the net, and instead of jumping up as high as you could have, you came out of the net and you hit it like way too high. So really, ideally, you should have just been made the save on the goal line and hit it directly to the left. So you could have followed that up, in my opinion. So this is a decent position to be in. I don't really blame you for going for that at all. Again, you see that your teammate there, Baked, was going to grab that boost. So you should be basically in net. Again, good rotation here. You should definitely be looking behind you, though, to make sure that your teammate is behind you in case you commit. Because backing up like that is a little bit dangerous. If you bump into him, then you might, he might bump into you if he's expecting you to go. It's always a better idea to just know where your teammates are at. Now, ignoring the fact that this should have been on net, this is a stupid thing to commit to with that much boost. You should have definitely waited longer before jumping for that, because now you put yourself out of position. Going for a shot is not bad. Don't blame me for that. I think if you turned a little bit more to the left, you could have gotten a better shot. Instead of hitting this ball in the center, you should have hit it on the left side of the ball, flipping into it towards the right. You should have definitely scored that. So that's 2 missed shots. You missed their corner boost again. And you're really not seeing where your teammates are at. I kind of lost track of where your teammates were, even watching the replay. So Han is there. Now you rotated back in. You still don't know if Han was behind you or not. I see you took off ball cam, which was nice. And you took your corner boost, but you should definitely be dropping back. Again, you're dropping back on the same line as your teammate. So you really should drop back behind Baked and let him come forward, because now when you do this, you're in the way of Han and you're in the way of Baked if he's trying to come out and follow up. So it's really just like a simple, you got to let your teammates rotate out, or you got to rotate back so your teammates can come forward. So if you rotated back into net, Baked might, even though he didn't have this challenge, you could have definitely had a better challenge there. It's really just all about the little things that kind of lead up to bad plays. So again, you don't know. You kind of like half rotated in. You see how far Han is pushing up. You should be up there right with him. You should be at the mid boost already, or at the midfield line. But now, because you kind of lost a half rotation there, Baked is going to push up instead. You should have really been the one to be up center. And now nobody's able to follow up the shot or follow up a pass or anything like that. Now Baked is coming in. Technically speaking, Han should be dropping back and you should be able to go for this follow-up. You should already be at this corner, in my opinion, or at least touching the ball already. Now again, you're dropping back on the same line. This is really a common mistake that I know you really want to go for this. This is not as bad because I know the ball is going to bounce and Han is going to have an easy pickup here. So that's not really that bad, but it's really just a common thing that you could have rotated back center for Han to just have a better shot. and just have a better rotation. Again, you guys are on the same line of the wall, which is not really that great. So if he misses that, Otto might be able to have a follow-up since you're going straight up, and Otto's definitely going to be closer than you, and he's going to have a better shot, at least an earlier shot than you are. So being on this wall is not a very great idea at all. Unless the ball is soaring towards you, this is never a good position to be in because you're going to get beat by Otto over there, and you're going to be out of position as well. So now, because you're on the wall, you have to get back down the wall, even though he's probably going to clear it back up to you. And Han, I believe that's the guy in net, or baked in the net, has to basically 2v1. So that's good that you went for it. Nice shot. But the rotation was a little jank. So it's good. So I'm sure Baked really wanted to go for this. It's better that you were there closer, but really all three of you guys are in the corner right now. It's not a very good idea, generally. It's a nice shot, though, still. So I'm not sure if you guys are using text chat for this. Okay, so you guys can see who's going for kickoff, so that's not a bad idea. You should be pushing up a little bit more. The second he has that win, you should be up behind Baked already. You should be way up behind him. So this is a really standard rotation. So anytime there's a guy who on your side who has possession, the second guy should be center. So Han should really be up waiting for a pass, literally, because now the goal is open. So if Baked is able to get a pass, Han should be there center field. Past the half-court line, he should be almost at that second boost pad. So let me see if I can go to fly mode. So Han should really be like at this boost pad or maybe even this boost pad. Because if Baked is able to get a pass and he beats him, look at, there's nobody here. There's nobody here to get the pass. And both of you guys are way too far back. Lyrical, you should be about the mid boost, I'd say. Because now if you were able to come up forwards and make the challenge, you could at least take a shot on net. Or if Han was still center, you could have made a pass to him. So there's something for you. So let me bring that back. It's really just the positioning is you're not really helping yourself out or your teammates. And now because you weren't up far enough, Han knows that somebody should have been there. So it's really sucky. Now, again, you should be pushing up, even though Han had a very clear state or a clear pass. The positioning is just garbage. Now you have to push up so far ahead. Is a good boost steal from your opponents. Again, you should have, don't even turn towards the center. Just drop, back behind the guy or behind Han. And again, because you kind of half rotated, you're trying to cover all bases, and you double commit. It's really inconsistent. And then again, when you do go for the ball, you miss it. And again, you're dropping back on the same side. You should be dropping back. Skip the boost. Go back to net. Don't drive in the corner. Again, this is every time you've dropped back, I think, maybe besides once, you've dropped back on the same side as the ball, which is not a good idea. Now, again, all three of you guys are in this corner, basically. If you were in net, this would have definitely been an easier save. I guess there's not even much you can do. You should know that this is going to bounce, so it's really just a read error. You jumped just a little tad too early, wanting to get that, but I'm not really going to pick you about it. It's really just all the stuff that has led up until that point that you might not realize. Again, you just did a bot kickoff. You don't know where your teammates are at. It's pretty the same standard stuff that I've said already. So you should have been where Baked is at right now. Baked should be behind you, and you should be the second man. So you see how slow your rotation is, according to even your teammates, who I think are technically playing a little bit better than you are this game, as far as I can see. even though at this point, you're on the top of the leaderboard, but as you see, both your teammates have a higher MMR than you, and Baked has over 100 points above you, which is, in my opinion, not very surprising with how well he's done with his rotations, as I can see. And I definitely do not blame your teammates for kind of cutting in rotation, because you're not really giving them that space that you want. That was a good... I'm just going to back up here because I was talking. But that was a good touch by you. So you should be behind Han. You should be grabbing that mid booster ready, basically. So you can be up on that. So if you were forward enough, you could have just taken that off the bounce right away. Once it hits right there, you should have been able to hit it right here and gotten a shot on that. But instead, you weren't in position enough, so you had to kind of correct, and you forced yourself to commit to a ball that wasn't that great. That was a really good touch, but I'm not getting why you went to the side right away. Just drop back. I want to see that again. So hit this ball and just keep dropping back. Don't turn around. He's obviously going to follow up with it. That was your intended pass. Good job to take off ball cam here and let Han, or know that Han was back. So you should really be charging up at this. You can see that Baked is filling in behind you. You should be just double jump and go at this. You guys are up by 1. It's not like you really need to commit to it, but you should really just be up in his face. Don't even let him... Even if you went up to the mid boost and challenged, you should have, that would put enough pressure that he would have to go in the air. Should make an easier read rather than having your opponent, maybe let the ball drop down and cut in field. Don't give him that option. And again, you're dropping back on the same side as the ball. You never drop back midfield. And because of that, your position is a little jank. I feel like you and Baked are always, or you and Han are always kind of trying to fill in. That's not a bad clear, I guess. Should have been really a shot on net. Nice job to steal their boost and go for a demo. But the second you miss the demo and he's going for a challenge, you should really be dropping back to net. Again, you're dropping back on the same side as the ball. Waiting, hoping for a clear here is not that bad because you have both teammates in net. It's just that I know you're going to double commit. They probably would have scored that, to be fair, so I'm not really going to dock you too many points for that. That was a decent pass, but nice way to stick with it. That was a decent play. I guess to me it seems like really uncoordinated play. The second he hits that, you don't need to jump. He's not going to hit it that hard, like clear it over you. He has no momentum. So it just seems really uncoordinated that you jumped and then boosted and flipped into this. It's just not that great. If you waited, if you got up underneath the ball, you shouldn't be jumping until you get underneath the ball. That way you could have definitely scored a goal on that, or at least had a decent shot on net. And again, you don't know where your teammate is, Han, behind you. And just the aerial play, it just seems like, your mechanics are decent, but you just seem very uncoordinated with how you control your car. You turn towards the right because you think it's going to go, but then it hits the ceiling. It's just, you commit way too early to things, even though the game was pretty much over at that point. It's just, you could have had another shot on net there. There was a lot of missed opportunities because you committed too early or because you turned your car in a certain way. It's all about those little things where if you had simply waited, that he's going to hit this off the corner. So just, I guess, wait it out because you're going to be the one to this ball for sure. But because you turned your car too much, you wasted like a whole half a second and let your teammate or let your opponent get to that ball. So I guess nice job on the win. Like I said, you ended up on the top of the leaderboard, but I really think you did not do as well as your teammates, in my opinion. You had more saves and you had more shots on net than both of your teammates, but in my opinion, it was very sloppy rotation and very sloppy mechanics of handling your car. That kind of just killed you. You really dropped back on the same side of the ball, which I think once or twice in there was not as bad because it was very easy. There was space in between you and the ball, and you had enough room to let your teammates have enough room to make a play. But if you keep doing that, eventually it's going to end up in with something bad happening, like whether you hit your teammate or if you get in the way of your opponent. Like I've had it happen where if you're dropping back on the same side of the ball, your opponent just comes up and bumps you and you dunk your teammate. Stupid stuff like that can happen. Don't even let that opportunity happen. Drop back center and let your teammates come forward. You're really cutting off the rotation when you do that. It happened very consistently. So anyways, that's kind of my spiel. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. I think in the future, I'm just going to probably include clips of me doing probably the correct things and what I think are the correct ways of doing these sort of rotations in these plays in my own games. Because these mistakes I find are very common, or at least the rotation of the way you played was very common, and things I would have done differently, I might put in clips of that, but I'll save that for the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Avatarmanz signing out.